There's an old song by country singer Glenn Campbell. It's called Try a Little Kindness. The words to the second verse go like this. Don't walk around the down and out. Lend a helping hand instead of doubt. And the kindness that you show every day will help someone along the way. You know, we all want to be that kind of person. Kindness is one of those virtues that makes life easier for everyone else. We all want to be that kind of person. The question is, how do I develop that quality, that virtue in my life? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in today's Full Life podcast. Welcome everyone to the Full Life Podcast by Grace Church, where we hope to inspire, challenge, and clarify your next steps in your faith journey. And today we are in the fifth of a series of podcasts conversations that we're having on how to exchange the life you have for the life that you want. And we're talking about 9 qualities that if we were to embrace them and incorporate them into our lives, would really transform how we live, our perspective on life, and the relationships that are around us. If you happen to miss any of the previous podcasts, I invite you to go back and to listen to them. We've talked about love, joy, peace, patience, and today we're talking about the power of kindness. And Pastor Randy Muma is with me, worship pastor at Grace Church. Randy, great to have you with us again today.
Thanks, Dave. You could have brought some warmer weather, though.
It is a little chilly.
What are we doing outside today?
In Ohio? Yeah, you're exactly right about that. Well, we're going to be talking about kindness today. And I think if there's anything that our culture could use today is some kindness. I think a little bit of kindness would go a long way, especially when it comes to social media. I mean, there are so many harsh words that are written, and even today, more than harsh words, a lot of hurtful actions that people have toward one another. And it's like people become either their real self or somebody else behind a keyboard. And it's just really challenging today.
Yeah, and even in person, you're standing in a checkout line at the store, and the person in front of you just goes off on the cashier, and it's brutal. Yeah. But I think we all get a little weary of being around people, and this may be the beginning of it. I read once about a little boy who was praying the Lord's Prayer, and he said, God, Lord, deliver me from people. Sometimes we just need to get away, right?
Life would be easier without people, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that you're right, that there's almost this right that we feel like we have to just say it like it is. And to
just saying.
Yeah, just saying. And to not be kind about it. I think if for no other reason to be kind is to get some kindness back. Now, that's no guarantee, but, you kind of do sow, you reap what you sow. And, Jesus, we've heard about the golden rule before, and even Jesus himself said that we should do to others as we would want them or have them do unto us. I think that's just really good advice for us if we want that kindness back, to sow a little kindness in the life of somebody else. So I had this experience as a parent where we were teaching the golden rule to our kids.
Now, is the golden rule, is that the one that says do to others before they do it to you?
Well, one of our kids actually thought so, I think, yeah. So we were teaching the golden rule, and we were talking about it. Apparently, I don't remember clearly enough, but apparently we've been talking about this for a while. And so I get this phone call from the school, and it turns out that our child had been in a little bit of a shoving exchange, and so he got in trouble for it. And so I went to the school, and after school wasn't something I had to go pick him up in the middle of the day for. And so I had this talk to the teacher, had this conversation with him. I said, "So why did you hit the other kid?" And he said, "Well, because I thought he wanted me to hit him." And I said, "Why would you think that?" He said, "Well, didn't you say that do unto others as you want them to do unto you?" He thought that because the kid hit them, that he wanted him to hit him. And so there you go, faith-based parenting at its best, Randy. What do you think about that? Sometimes it kind of backfires, right?
Oh, mercy.
So what we want is, truthfully, we want to sow a little kindness into the lives of other people so that we can, not just so that we can get something back for it, but there is this exchange that does happen. Proverbs 11, I would look this up, Proverbs 11:17 says, "Those who are kind benefit themselves, but the cruel bring ruin on themselves." You know, the bottom line is that kindness encourages others and it nourishes us. Isn't that kind of an interesting concept?
Wow, I like that.
Yeah, so there is this sowing and reaping thing. You know, it does encourage other people, but then it also nourishes us. So when you think about kindness and you think about what God says about kindness, what are some thoughts that come to your mind?
There's some great words in Ephesians 4:32. Be kind and compassionate, forgiving one another, just as Christ in God forgave us. I love that idea that, he's asking us to do the very same thing that Jesus did. Forgive people that weren't kind to him.
Yeah, and I like the practicality. It takes kindness out of kind of a concept into some sort of action where I am demonstrating kindness to other people when I'm showing compassion toward them and when I am forgiving them. Those actions are actions of, so when I'm doing that, I don't have to wonder if I'm being kind. I am being kind.
I recently read of a pastor whose wife was killed by a drunk driver. The man was sentenced to prison for a number of years, and in the process, this pastor began to go and visit the guy and actually spoke in his behalf at the parole hearing.
Wow.
So the man's released, and the pastor meets him for coffee, became a mentor to him. I can't imagine that kind of forgiveness, that kind of kindness.
No.
Way beyond what I can understand.
And talk about sowing, kindness in somebody's life through that forgiveness. It was life transforming for that guy.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
And like so many of the others, these qualities we've been talking about, kindness is something we need to put on. Colossians 3:12 simply says, "Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves in compassion, kindness, gentleness, humility, and patience." It's something that just doesn't happen. We have to make the conscious choice every day to put on kindness.
Yeah, and I'm not the sharpest pencil in the box, but a lot of these qualities we've been talking about up until now is an active step of putting it on, like our clothing. Just like I go into a closet and make a decision about what I'm going to be putting on, even if I don't fret over that decision, like some people might, I'm still making a choice to put that on. And the same is true for us. And, how different would our lives, what kind of exchange would we make in our lives toward kindness if we just made a choice every day before we walked out the door, before we had that first interaction with people in our family, if we just clothed ourselves with kindness? It'd be transforming.
Well, that's so good.
Yeah.
Another thing about kindness, it builds others up and it doesn't tear them down. Ephesians 4:29, great words. "Let no unwholesome word come out of your mouth, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their need, that it may benefit those who listen." When my mouth opens, it shouldn't be about, "Hey, look at me." It should be about, how can I encourage you? How can I build you up?
I love how that verse just, again, gives us more practical ideas about what kindness is. The first thing is that it's intentional. When I'm making a decision to build somebody else up, I'm making a conscious, intentional decision. I'm going to, that the words that come out of my mouth, that the actions that I take have a purposeful intent in that person's life. I really like that. I like the intentionality that that verse gives to kindness. And the second thing is perspective. There's a perspective to that verse, as you've mentioned already, that it's not about me, it's about other people. And so I'm making this intentional action with the perspective of addressing the needs of other people. And the other thing I like about it is the relevancy of it, because it says so it will benefit them. I'm not pursuing I'm not saying words, and I'm not pursuing actions merely for somebody else, projecting what I want on their lives. It's for their benefit. It's very timely. It's very helpful for them. So I really like that part of the intentionality and having to think about it.
Yeah.
It's not just an automatic thing. I am making a conscious decision to be kind towards somebody else.
All three of those things you just mentioned are wrapped up in what Jesus said to his followers. Mark 10:45, he says, "Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life a ransom for many." Yeah. He was always looking out for those people that needed encouragement, that needed a touch from him.
Yeah, and again, we benefit from that. It nourishes us. There's something about serving someone that way, being compassionate, being loving, being intentional, building other people up. It nourishes us up too. We don't do it with selfish intent, but there is a personal benefit that we get from it. There's no doubt about that. So let's talk about some easy, practical steps that we can take when it comes to kindness. This is kind of an old-fashioned thing, and it might not sound very masculine for some of the guys out there, but you know, what would it be like if we were to write 7 notes of encouragement, one for every day of the week, to somebody that would be intentional, be specific for building them up, benefiting them? I think that would make a big difference. It could be a text, it could be a written note or whatever. Just let that person know that you're thinking about them, that you care about them, and that you're doing something, you're saying something or want to do something that will really encourage them.
Boy, that's good. Sam Clemens said, I can go 3 months on a good word of encouragement. I think those 7 notes would do a lot. And I like how you said text, because I love to send a 2-sentence text to people, that they're thought of, that they've encouraged me. I think those are huge.
Yeah.
And I'm always about memorizing, Dave. What if we memorize Colossians 3:12? Therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves in kindness, compassion, gentleness, humility, and patience. What a great reminder each day of those virtues that we should have in place in our life.
Yeah, amen. And just making the conscious decision to put that on, put that clothing on. I'm going to be a kind person today, and this is what I'm going to do to be kind. I'm going to think through my list of people that I'm going to be interacting with, and anticipate those people that I will be interacting with that I don't even know yet, whether it be at the grocery store, at the gas station, or wherever it might be. And I'm going to look for ways to be intentionally kind in their lives. Yeah. Well, hopefully our conversation today has been very helpful for you, and that has helped you take your next step in your faith journey to be a kind person. Because the Bible tells us, Jesus himself said that he came that we might have life and that we might have it to the full. And part of that full life is to be a kind person. I encourage you to make this exchange in your life toward kindness. And if you don't have a church home, you're welcome to join us at Grace Church. If you want to learn more about the times when we meet and the times when our services are streaming, you can always go to worcestergrace.org. That's WOOSTER grace.org. If you like this video, make sure you like, share, comment, or subscribe to invest in the full life that God has for you.